Welcome, everyone, to the NewVision Oldways podcast, a greatly ambitious journey of discovery where we can all learn to live better, mentally healthier, and more fulfilling lives. If you're just discovering us, feel free to go back and take the journey from the beginning. And if you're already a NewVision Oldways fan, welcome back and enjoy season 5. And now, here is your host, Tony Marinaccio.
You are listening to NewVision Oldways, the podcast that explores timeless wisdom for the modern mind in a fun, relaxed, and most important, interactive way with you, the listener. I am your host, Tony Marinaccio, and let's get the episode started. Welcome, Visioneers, to another great episode of the NewVision Oldways podcast. And I have a very different kind of episode on tap for you today. I want to take you on a psychedelic journey, one that will shed light on the big question, did we ever really break on through? Or was it simply an illusion, a fantasy, an idea filled with hope that never got truly fulfilled? Or worse, a death trap that many fell into and never escaped from. Why are we traveling down this road today? Because on many occasions, I have talked about how malleable our brains are, how we can actually rewire our brains to think differently if we truly desire to. But for the better part of almost 70 years, the only way to do that was thought to be by using chemicals to make that happen. So many people bought into that concept, and yet, is society better? Did we ever reach that pinnacle of heightened awareness that brought us closer to nature, to God, to each other, to ourselves? As Mr. Dylan once sung, the answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind. And in this episode, the wind has sent us the answer, and there's no better time to find out what that answer is than right now. So sit back, take a deep breath, and join me on a journey to the center of your mind with episode 49, Did We Ever Really Break On Through? The Myth of the Psychedelic Dream.
First of all, Oliver, what on earth is low-grade acid? You know, hey, LSD is LSD, man. You take it, and it opens the doors of perception, or it scares the bejesus out of you. That it does.
Maybe he was...
Sometimes it does both. It certainly did both for me. You know, not at the same time, but boy, you go to heaven and hell on that one. I'll tell you. And when Oliver said that in the movie, low-grade, had Jim say low-grade acid, man, there is no such thing. There is no such thing as bad acid. There's bad thoughts. There's a bad spirit in you. There's bad heart. There's bad karma. There's sin. You know, the accumulation of the things that you've done that are wrong. There's meanness. That's inside of you. And boy, I'd highly recommend Oliver Stone having a couple of hits of that bad acid.
That, of course, is a clip from my classic interview with The Doors' Ray Manzarek from 1993, talking about the Oliver Stone movie and, of course, the psychedelic drug acid. And he sets the stage for what I am talking about today. But first things first, during this episode, you will hear me talking about several different drugs, and I cannot stress this enough. I am in no way, shape, or form encouraging anyone to try any of what you are about to hear. This episode is not about drug experimentation. It's about the concept and the mindset of what the psychedelic age was all about. So please, keep that in mind. And with that being said, and without turning this into a lame history lesson, the most famous psychedelic drug that I just mentioned, acid, it's usually referred to as lysergic acid diethylamide, or it's more commonly referred to, name again, is LSD, was first synthesized on November 16th, 1938 by the Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann. Mescaline, on the other hand, was first synthesized in 1919 by the chemist Ernest Spath in the laboratories of Vienna University from the organic base of 3,4,5 trimethoxybenzoic acid, say that 10 times fast, an oil found in eucalyptus. It was the first of the compounds that we now call psychedelic to be created in the laboratory. And over the next century, it would make a distinctive contribution to Western science, medicine, art, and literature. The compound had originally been isolated from the peyote cactus in 1897 by the chemist Arthur Hefter in Leipzig, Germany. Hefter had painstakingly separated out the resins and the alkaloid contained in the cactus and determined by self-experimenting that the main psychoactive or vision-producing ingredient was the alkaloid he named mescaline, after mescal, an alternative name for peyote. And that short history lesson brings us to an English writer and philosopher named Aldous Huxley. In 1953, Mr. Huxley sat quietly on his sofa, swallowed 0.4 of a gram of mescaline, and waited for reality to dissolve. He didn't get quite the experience he was hoping for, but what he did get was the basis for my discussion today. He analyzed his experience by coming to a conclusion that may seem bland and obvious, but to me, may be more important today than it seemed in 1953 or 1954. Huxley, while under the influence of mescaline, realized that while seeing the intensified beauty of flowers and books, yes, books, he was given the ability to focus directly on the intense, almost glowing colors of the flowers and the books, not on where the flowers or the books were located, not on how much time he was spending noticing this intensified beauty, just on the beauty of what he was looking at. How that beauty was never truly noticed to that extent before, because as he talks about in his famous book published in 1954, The Doors of Perception, and the later essay, Heaven and Hell, our brains were trained to focus mostly on the where of the object. How far is it? How situated it is in relation to what? The point here is that the mind can look at the same thing, but derive a completely different conclusion based on what we are allowing ourselves to see, to feel, to understand about what we are seeing. So, at this point, it begs the question, is it solely the use of a drug like mescaline or LSD that allows us to get to an altered state of consciousness? Or are we able to, in a much healthier sense, get there ourselves? What did the drugs actually do for us that we couldn't have done for ourselves? So it also begs the next question. Did we ever really break on through to the other side, as Jim Morrison used to scream into the mic? Or did we just see some pretty colors and scorch a few brain cells? Did we just trade one illusion of a higher consciousness for another illusion that if we take this, smoke that, inject the other thing, all of our problems would be solved? In The Doors of Perception, Aldous Huxley invites us into a world seen not as it is perceived, but as it could be seen. If we were free of what he called the reducing valve of the brain, according to Huxley, and I agree here, the brain isn't a vessel for consciousness. It's a filter, a regulator that tones down the chaotic reality the world could be. It does this because if we saw the world as it actually is, full spectrum, full volume, we would be overwhelmed, flooded by the raw isness of things. Isness is referring to the thing's factual existence and the reality of things as they are, as opposed to how they ought to be. So the brain simplifies. It labels and justifies for clarity. We reduce the universe to chair, tree, cloud, me. But under mescaline, Huxley claimed that the reducing valve opened. He saw the suchness of objects. The suchness is a Buddhist concept that refers to the true, unconditioned nature of reality as it is. Another way to put it is he saw the actual beauty of what he was looking at, not the preconditioned view he had trained himself to see. He was able to see the items as miraculous existences in their own light. A flower just isn't a flower. It was pure form, a cathedral of light. It was infinite geometry unfolding in real time. And Huxley wasn't alone. Others followed. Timothy Leary, Ram Dass, the Beats, the hippies, the seekers. They opened the doors. But like Huxley, they certainly didn't always like what they saw as they walked through that door. Some never even came back.
Warren Wallace asked them what they thought the hippie movement was trying to accomplish.
What we're thinking about is a peaceful planet. We're not thinking about anything else. We're not thinking about any kind of power. We're not thinking about any of those kind of struggles. We're not thinking about revolution or war or any of that. That's not what we want. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to hurt anybody. We would all like to be able to live an uncluttered life, a simple life, a good life, and think about moving the whole human race ahead a step or a few steps. And, or half a step. Yeah, or half a step.
Let's be honest. The psychedelic revolution promised a lot. And that clip from Jerry Garcia was a perfect example of that. But as George Harrison of the Beatles quickly realized, drugged out hippies did not bring humanity to a higher consciousness. They mostly didn't shower and fell asleep in the park. Not exactly the forward progress they were hoping for. But there were glimmers of hope, though. The Summer of Love concept, Woodstock, the human beings, Timothy Leary on the front page of Time magazine telling us to turn on, tune in, and drop out. But as we all know, the revolution fragmented and then, of course, fizzled out. What followed was not utopia. It was Altamont, Charles Manson, MK Ultra, which we will be focusing on in an upcoming episode. It was also burned out, self-proclaimed prophets and broken minds. Sure, the Beatles proclaimed all you need is love, yet they too fizzled out and broke up. They looked through the glass onion and saw a better future alone instead of together. In Huxley's follow-up essay, Heaven and Hell, he explores not just the beauty of altered states, but the horror, the descent into terror, madness, and isolation. The same doors that open to paradise can open to a nightmare. He wrote, to be shaken out of the ruts of ordinary perception, to be shown for a few timeless hours the outer and inner world, not as they appear to an animal obsessed with survival and status, but as they are apprehended by the mind at large. This is an experience of inestimable value. And he may be correct in that statement, but only if you come back. And if you do, you hopefully bring something useful with you. So, what have we brought back? Some beautiful art, sure. Some amateur prophet sayings, some relatively fun stories of tripping out. Many not so fun. But mainly, we tricked ourselves into thinking that the trip was the transformation, that seeing God in the wallpaper was enough, even if you have never changed your relationship with God, or your neighbor, or yourself. Did it stop war? Of course not. Did it help the living conditions of many? Nope. Did it bring us together? Well, nope again. It was basically used to escape the world, escape unhappy lives, to escape responsibility. Visioneers, if you believe in this show and what New Vision Oldways is all about, there is a link in the show notes and on the newvisionoldways.com website that will allow you to donate what you can. This show takes time, research, and an expense to put these episodes together and to ultimately grow and service the Visioneer community. It does require money to make this work, so if you can donate any amount, it would be so appreciated. Thank you so much. And now, back to the show. I am not here to simply bash psychedelics. In fact, we are now finally in the midst of a different kind of psychedelic renaissance. Psilocybin, the compound often found in what is referred to as magic mushrooms, is being tested and used to treat depression and PTSD. Ayahuasca retreats are helping people confront deep trauma. Neuroscience is finally catching up to what the mystics were saying all along. The mind is not a fixed thing. Consciousness is malleable. And we have talked about that in many episodes. But here is the key difference in this new renaissance. Today's approach is rooted in integration, therapy, intent, and aftercare, not just blasting through the doors for fun, not treating enlightenment like a party drug that can be laced with many different harmful substances. If done with care, these types of treatments can help many, but this too could be a slippery slope if stringent attention is not paid to detail and proper diagnosis. So, in asking the question, did we ever really break on through? Well, partially, and those previously mentioned treatments can certainly be a part of it. But I believe the real breakthrough isn't about drugs or visions of glowing flowers or books or furniture. It's about seeing the sacred in the ordinary. It's about realizing that the world, our own lives even, in all its mess and mystery, is already miraculous. As Huxley said, it's not that the world is different. It's that I am different. For the majority of us that are not getting treated for depression or PTSD, etc., our minds, as I have said many times in many episodes, can be rewired to see life differently by our own natural powers. We can design our minds to perceive the world in not only a different way, but a positive way. We can realize the true, vibrant beauty in anything if we take the moments to meditate, to reflect, to focus on the present, not the social media noise, not the preconceived expectations that we have about almost everything, but the present, the reds, the yellows, the blues, the shape and form of anything, the taste of whatever food you are eating, the aroma of a scented candle, the beauty in music, art of any kind, can all be more intense and satisfying, but it takes practice. Again, go back to many episodes and choose what bits and pieces work for you. This is your life to reimagine any way you like. It is no one else's. Reality is what we make it. Chemicals, though they may help some, can alter the body's natural state, and the future ramifications of that can be severe. Taking control over your own mind, being comfortable in your own skin, living the life that you desire is way more important than satisfying a group of people that are not really concerned about you. We don't need a chemical key to open the doors of perception. We just need to slow down. Turn inward, look inside your soul, find that inner self, and come to terms with the idea that there is so much beauty in the world, so much to be thankful for. And I may be in the minority here, but I do thank God every day that I have clean water to drink, food to eat, a home to live in, a car to drive, friends, family, work, and so much more. Gratitude is everything. When you are thankful, you've already won the war. While many others take to the streets to protest things they have no solutions for, and quite frankly have no idea in most cases exactly what they are protesting, having gratitude and being thankful for the small things in life puts you in a unique position. Once you are truly thankful, your mind is at ease. It allows you to open the doors of perception and see things your mind shut out because you were so obsessed by a king that doesn't exist. Once you allow others to steal your soul and who you really are, you get blinded. You only see the manufactured rage that is pushing your soul deeper into the void. Yes, a chemical can, for a brief moment, allow you to see pretty colors and God in the wallpaper, as I said before. But when you actually put the effort into rewiring your brain naturally, there are no limits to what you can see. Your mind is free of crushing expectations, and now those colors seem brighter and more magnificent, and the music touches your soul deeper. The love you feel for yourself and others intensifies. No drug can do that. So here we are, back at another threshold. The door is now open, but what's on the other side depends on how we walk through it. Can we take the ancient and the modern, the mystical and the measurable, the old ways with the new vision, and combine them in a way that's honest, inclusive, and transformative? Not just for the individual, but for the collective. Because we do not need more people having visions of the cosmos. We need more people who come back from those clear-minded visions, ready to build a better world. One that sees our mental health as sacred. One that understands that the real trip, the one that actually matters, is how we live our lives. Are we living for ourselves, or are we living for others that do not have our best interests at heart? Visioneers, like all of you, I have been through a lot in my life. Some may call it going through heaven and hell. There is one thing that I have learned that has changed my life forever, and it's why I repeat it so many times. Your mindset is everything. And I'm going to repeat that. Your mindset is everything. What you feed your mind comes back out in spades. Like a computer, garbage in, garbage out, so is your mind. You hang out with manipulative, negative people, you become a manipulative, negative person. You hang out with supportive, positive people, your life flourishes. The ones that love you will be there for you. The ones that want to manipulate your life for their gain do not need to be around. Breaking on through to the other side could be a difficult journey, but if you naturally rewire how you think, if you see the beauty in the small things, if you are truly grateful, amazing things will happen to you. Again, go back and listen to any of the previous episodes and put together your own path of discovery. Open the doors in your own mind and find out who you really are. Look around and see what's really there. The ugliness, the beauty, the love, and carve out the life you desire. You can do it. Put the effort in and you will not be disappointed. English poet, journalist, and novelist Rudyard Kipling once said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely, often and sometimes frightened, but no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." So Visioneers, own your own mind. Open the doors of perception naturally and never, and I mean never, let anyone have possession of your mind. It's yours, yours alone. The doors are now open. It's time to break on through to the other side. So, what did you think of this episode or any of the episodes? I would love to find out. And here's where to get a hold of the show and let us know. These are in the show notes, but as always, here they are. As I announced last season, the new NewVisionOldways.com website is up and running. Check out all the episodes, the Revelations blog and news page, and of course there's a subscription link as well as a link that you can click on that will allow you to donate to the show and show your support. By donating what you can, it will also allow me to book guests and cover costs. Anything will help. Cancel anytime. And you can also message the show from each episode on your various platforms. Just look for the send us a text message link. If that doesn't work for you, you can email us at newvisionoldways@gmail.com. Very simple. You can find us on what was Twitter, now X, at NewVisionOldway. No S on that one. At NewVisionOldway. Check out the New Vision Oldways YouTube channel. Just type in New Vision, one word, Oldways, one word, and please subscribe. It is free and will show support for the show. It really means a lot and will help grow the show on YouTube. Find us on Facebook. New Vision, again, one word. Oldways, one word podcast. You should easily find us. And as a reminder, these are still growing platforms for us and expanding all the time. So we need your help to get the flow going with the community. And last but not least, if you can do me a huge favor, please subscribe to us, like us, follow us, leave a review on whatever platform you found us on. That would be so appreciated. And that will also help secure guests that we will be booking in the future. So Visioneers, welcome to the latter part of season number 5. I can't wait to get your input. I also can't wait until we get together for the next episode of New Vision, Old Ways. Until then, stay true to yourself, stay informed, and stay empowered.
But the most important thing is,
This episode and all the episodes of New Vision Old Ways podcast have been written, engineered, and produced by Tony Marinaccio and TKM Productions.